KTSM has obtained court documents from two separate incidents where arrest warrants were issued to Joshua Gallardo, a 2-year veteran with the department. The jail records are from February 2024, where a 29-year-old woman claims Gallardo choked her after an argument. The second is from January of this year, alleging he threatened to, quote, shoot up a woman's home because she didn't go to a party with him.
A police officer from here at Lyons Police Department turned himself in this morning for charges of violation of oath and theft.
A disappointing day for the Lyons Police Department.
Police Chief Wesley Walker says a traffic stop here in Lyons March 23rd ultimately led to the arrest of one of his officers.
Another officer with the Lyons Police Department made a traffic stop on a Hispanic male. He didn't speak English, so he asked Officer Dustin Matachic to come over and help translate.
The driver was arrested for driving unlicensed. Before being taken to jail, he gave Officer Dustin Matachic, an officer who was new to the Lyons Police Department, some personal belongings, such as a passport, his vehicle keys, and money. He did this believing that Officer Matachic would give them to his wife.
I think on March the 25th, the subject's boss man or employer called the police department looking for that property, and it was unable to be located, and that's what initiated the investigation.
Chief Walker says Metchek's story didn't align with the video and other information. He then contacted the GBI, which determined that the officer had stolen the driver's property and charged with violation of oath and theft. Metchek's turned himself in to the Lyons Police Department Tuesday morning.
And when we recognize that we got a bad apple, then we want to get rid of it. And we want to make sure that we maintain the integrity of law enforcement.
We haven't been able to reach Officer Metchek for comment. Now, Chief Walker tells me that he plans on being as transparent as possible with the Lyons community throughout this case.
Good morning and welcome to the Bad Apple Report. It's 7:30 a.m. bright and early right here at home on the range. Thank you so much for being here today, folks. I really appreciate it. I believe we're going to be able to get through today's show without a bunch of skips and drops. You see, yesterday it took me like 5 different tries to get the show up because of the parent company and a bunch of words. Oops. Anyways, we're looking at this former Delaware County deputy who's been charged with drug trafficking. That's right. Investigators found drugs, weapons, credit cards in this former deputy's vehicle. Jay, Oklahoma, former Delaware County K-9 officer, has been arrested on charges of trafficking drugs and stashing drugs, weapons, and credit cards from suspects after they were in custody. Nice job there, buddy. Michael Bernheisel, age 47, of Disney. Oh, not the happiest place on earth for this guy, I presume. He's charged in Delaware County District Court with willful neglect by a state officer, possession of a controlled dangerous substance and trafficking, and embezzlement. Old embezzler. The former officer is accused of retaining some evidence for several cases, up to 10 months, compromising the chain of custody. Oh, what was their first clue? Okay. This guy is one of those alleged drug dealers who's not very profitable, if you know what I mean. Okay, Sheriff Ray Thomas noticed irregularities in Burnshell's investigation reports, not to mention his appearance, insubordination and failure to complete assignments, and offered him another position with the Sheriff's Department, like picking up trash or something. Just kidding, I don't know. In December, the former deputy refused to be reassigned. He was above it. And he resigned from the Delaware County Sheriff's Office. This is great, you guys. The investigator shows Bernheisel worked at the Sheriff's Department between November 1st, 2023 and December 9th. Oh, that guy, okay. During a search of his department-issued vehicle, a 2022 Dodge Ram pickup K-9 unit, investigators found 333 items, including narcotic paraphernalia, a Springfield XD semi-automatic weapon, a Taurus G2C 9mm. Oh, get a real gun, dude. semi-automatic weapon, one of which was reported stolen by, oh, okay, that's what it was. Just stole it off some 16-year-old, allegedly. Other items included ammunition, cocaine, cannabis derivatives, and over 20 grams of methamphetamine. Okay, according to the 18th man, this guy, you need some help there, buddy. Okay, investigators also found a Lipton canister containing cannabis in a vehicle storage compartment and baggies containing drugs and under the driver's seat, as well as driver's licenses and credit cards, court records shows. Whoa, this guy. Investigators also found evidence containing more drugs. One bag that contained over 32 grams of white crystal-like substance, a broken glass pipe, and a county-owned tablet not released to Birchmore. Good grief! Birchmore also allegedly turned over a set of BMW keys, including 12 on a lanyard, to the sheriff's department. According to online records, he is free on $30,000 bail in order to return to court on April 24th. Oh my goodness. Birchmore. Sheesh. Okay. That's a bad apple right there, folks, and that's why we do the Bad Apple Report. I appreciate you being here. Now we're going to move on with the show.
This is where my child goes to school at, and this is where the incident also occurred at.
Chanel Edwards sent her son to Manual High School, thinking he would be protected.
I would have thought they would have advocated for him immediately. I would have never thought that they would put charges on him.
In a lawsuit filed on Friday, Edwards accuses DPS security officers of physically assaulting her 16-year-old son back in February 2024.
When my child tried to go around him, he decided to grab my child and throw him against the wall and then throw him on the ground.
9 News Investigates obtained surveillance video from that night without audio. Edward's son is the student in the black hoodie in front of the security officer, who ends up on the ground. The video then shows him getting up and making movements towards the security officer.
Then a couple months later, I get a call from a detective telling me that my baby is now being charged with assault against the gentleman who assaulted my baby.
The case against the student was ultimately dropped, not based on the facts of the case, but on a procedural technicality.
It's like weeks, months we were going to court. So it took a toll on him missing school, and we've never dealt with the court system.
A spokesperson for DPS says both of the officers are still employed with the district, but they wouldn't comment on pending litigation. Before this all happened, Edwards says her son was bound for college.
He doesn't want to go to college anymore.
She says her son has changed because of this, and that it didn't have to be this way.
My child is not a fighter. He doesn't get in trouble. He's never been suspended.
Lawsuit brought by a former Greenwood police officer against the city and also against the police chief will not be moving forward.
Fox 59's Anna Darling shares the latest on this case. Anna.
Good morning. Sam Bowen brought this lawsuit after he was fired from the Greenwood Police Department in 2023. He was accused of violating the department's policies dealing with technology use and officer behavior. The charges stem from messages Bowen sent on his department-issued devices where he repeatedly made racist, homophobic, and anti-Semitic comments. The Greenwood Police Merit Commission voted unanimously to fire him. He sued the city and Chief James Eisen for wrongful termination. He also accused the chief and the department on his Facebook account of lying and hiding information. Here's what Bowen said of his actions during that Merit Commission hearing back in 2023.
It's not anything I'm proud of. It was, for me, humor between friends and a way to deal with stress.
The city moved for summary judgment, where it had to demonstrate to the court that the evidence would not allow a reasonable juror to find in Bowen's favor. Judge Richard Young granted this motion, saying in part, quote, by calling Chief Eisen a liar and accusing the GPD of hiding information from the public, Bowen compromised the community's trust in its police officers. The city says it's thankful its taxpayers will not have to bear the expense of taking this lawsuit to a trial.
We have breaking news out of Springfield. Yes, Springfield. A Springfield police officer has been suspended following a Connecticut arrest. That's Springfield. Springfield, Massachusetts. Oh, wait, not that Springfield. A different Springfield. This Springfield police officer has been suspended after being arrested in Connecticut. On Thursday, Springfield Police Superintendent, or whatever SUP stands for, Larry Akers, said that 27-year-old officer Justin Perez, who's been with the department since July 2022, was suspended 5 daes without pay. Okay. After his arrest on Tuesday, what did he do? Quote, the Springfield Police Internal Investigations Unit has been in contact with Connecticut investigators in connection with these allegations since October. Okay, unquote, Walsh explained, adding that Perez was assigned to administrative duties without a gun since the department was informed of this investigation. No gun for you, Perez. What did he do? Court documents detailed how the victim's hopes of joining a school team were discouraged after allegedly being sexually assaulted over the course of a season. That's what he did. Okay. Connecticut State Police said the victim told the team's head coach, who only found out after trying to convince the girl to rejoin the team the next year. The team's head coach then reported the assault to police. Okay. Documents detailed alleged advances against the girl who managed and practiced with the team during 2023-2024 season. She said Perez sent explicit photos on Snapchat and that the inappropriate behavior spilled into practices. She said he would whisper comments in her ear while wrestling, such as, "I know you like that," and tried to convince her to stay in the same hotel room with him when they were on way on the state trips. Okay. Victim claimed that Perez was messaging her to convince her to get a room, and he told her that he could do stuff together. Perez, you're a goofball. Victim also told police he would, quote, grind on her. Perez! All right. She told police she was grossed out by all of it. We're all grossed out just hearing about it. But that she didn't want to get anyone in trouble. We like getting him in trouble on the Bad Apple Report. The warrant said that Perez tried to force his way into the room where the victim and her friend were weighing in while only wearing a sports bra and Nike Pro shorts. During the investigation, police searched the suspect's phone and found internet searches that included sending nudes to minor in Connecticut and age of consent for kissing in Connecticut. Perez, you goofball. Okay, Springfield Police spokesperson Ryan Walsh added that Springfield Board of Police Commissioners and the state's Post Commission have been notified, and Perez is going to be on the cover of the Bad Apple Report, so everybody's going to know. Perez was charged with criminal attempt of risk of injury to a minor, risk of injury to a minor, criminal attempt of second degree, fourth degree, sexual assault, and enticing a minor under 18 by the computer. He was also held on a $100,000 bond after appearing in a Rockville Superior Court. That's it. That is the deal on that Bad Apple. Thank you so much, folks. Let's move on.
We begin with a troubling story out of Mecklenburg County, a smash and grab at an apartment complex in Huntersville. Residents there tell us multiple vehicles were broken into overnight. Their problem is, at least one person says police saw who may have done it, but chose not to chase them. Well, our Michael Warwick spent the day getting answers to this, and he is live tonight at the Huntersville Police Department. So, Michael, you've now learned why officers didn't chase those guys?
Right, we started asking questions after a woman told us police pulled up to her apartment while thieves were breaking into her car. But as the crooks got away, she says police didn't follow them.
I said, and what happened? And he said, we pursued him, but we couldn't pursue him anymore.
This woman, who asked to stay anonymous, is one of the victims of early morning car break-ins at this 55 and up apartment complex.
Anger, really angry. And when I asked the policeman, there was nothing in my car. He said they're looking for guns.
Now, with 2 broken windows, this woman is asking why police, when they responded, didn't go after the thieves.
Why weren't the police allowed to pursue them, first of all? They were this far away from them.
Huntersville police say when they got here, they saw multiple suspects driving away in a car. So we asked Huntersville police why they didn't chase these guys. Well, they tell us when it comes to property damage, they said in a statement, in accordance with department policy and in the interest of public safety, Huntersville officers are generally restricted from engaging in high-speed pursuits for property crimes, as these can pose significant risks to the community.
For this victim, it's on to a $1,000 window repair and a wish the thieves are caught before someone gets hurt.
Here's a bad cop from down under, and the prosecutors are saying not so fast to the sentence of the ex-cop over the tasering death of Claire Noland. The That's right. The prosecutors intend to appeal against the inadequacy of a sentence handed to a former NSW police officer who avoided jail over the manslaughter of a 95-year-old woman he shot with a taser. Christian White's his name, age 35, was last week handed a 2-year community correction order, which included 425 hours of community service following the death of Claire Noland in Kuma in May 2023. Her family had described that outcome as a slap on the wrist, and one of her sons, Michael Noland, said it was very hard to process. The Office of the Director of Public Prosecutors has now indicated it will challenge the sentence. After careful consideration of the judgment, quote, the director has determined to file an appeal against the inadequacy of the sentence imposed in this matter, a spokesperson said in a statement in an Australian accent. White was found guilty by a jury following a trial in the New South Wales Supreme Court last year. The jurors saw CCTV body cam footage showing the lead up to the incident at Yallambee Lodge, where Mrs. Noland had been wandering the facility with 2 knives from the kitchen and entering the rooms of other residents. The trial heard when White attended the paramedics. Ms. Noland was eventually found in a nurse's room in the early hours of the morning. Okay. For several minutes, those present instructed her to put away the knives. When she began to slowly move her walker towards the door where White was standing, he eventually said, nah, bugger it, and fired his taser. Bugger it means something in Australian. Ms. Noland fell backwards and died a week later from an inoperable head injury. Justice Ian Harris found the crime fell on the lower end of objective seriousness and that White has made a terrible mistake, quote unquote. The former senior constable had, quote, misread and misunderstood the dynamics of the situation, but he felt by an honest, mistaken, unreasonable belief that that there was a threat imposed. Okay, that's the deal with this guy. There is more to it, but the fact of the matter is they're challenging his sentence, but who knows how it works down there. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. Let's move on with the show.
So I think it's like you feel just empty. You feel like this is a vanilla, washed over audit that's going to come out. There's a couple things with it. An audit's not an investigation. If you go in and you have no police powers in that, you're investigating if there's a conspiracy, and you ask, well, is there a conspiracy? How many police officers do you think are going to openly talk about that? It's not going to happen. I think the resourcefulness is one thing, but like really a leaf blower at a crime scene, I can think of about 10 different ways to process that crime scene. And it's one of those things that you come back with, this is all your recommendations in these cases that are so bad. And again, Karen Reed, the conspiracy thing needs to be investigated by a police department that has police powers, that when you put them under oath, that they have to tell the truth or they're lying to another police officer. So I think that's an issue. And with Sanders' case, I mean, it is another police department. When you really look at the heinous part of that, 3 police officers sexually assaulted her, passed her around, and then the crime scene that you talked about, though, that was Canton. And again, you look at a crime scene like that, and it wasn't properly documented, and you walked in, and if you really thought that was a suicide, like, come on, are you kidding me type of thing, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, I could have, without any forensic training, I could have easily, at that crime scene, seen the evidence that would have said, no, I think we've got a few more questions here than what might seem. First of all, she was hanging from a door handle, not even hanging, and I think her hyoid bone wasn't broken, which I think the medical examiner needs to give his head a shake. But let me ask you this quick question about Five Stones Intelligence. I read the bio, the one-line bio, a Judeo-Christian principled intelligence agency and professional services firm. Look, I go to church. I'm not anti-religion, but what the heck is a Judeo-Christian principled? Shouldn't it just be an intelligence agency and professional services firm? Like, this already makes me suspect.
It is. They were involved in some things I was in before in horse racing. I found their practices sloppy, and the way that they're like trying to do things was not on the up and up on a couple things that, like, it just questions me. Like, well, they are hired by the city. And it almost like when you read the intro of, oh, they're so cooperative and we appreciate their help. Well, you got to put that out there. So I think their credibility goes back to when you look at the cases and this is what they come out with. I think that hurts their credibility in the long run. Like you said, do you really trust them now when you look at a case like Karen Reed and you come out with a few recommendations, and some of them are really basic. I mean, if they don't know how to process a crime scene and they're detectives, I think that goes to a further thing than just a couple policy changes.
Okay, you guys, if you ever wake up and you find out that Home on the Range is gone and the Bad Apple Report is done, it's probably because of the feedback that I leave YouTube when they censor the show, and they cause me to do so much work and effort just to get a show up. So I know I need to stay in touch with my profitable side. That's what a good fiddle player buddy of mine would always say to me right before I would say something really goofy in the studio just to try to get a laugh. But this is a little bit different. I don't like when they do that. I don't have the time to do 5 different versions of a show just to try to get it up. So they had me cutting segments and dropping words, and I'm not going to keep doing that. But I appreciate you being here, folks, and I think we're going to make it with this show. And hopefully I'll be right back here tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. bright and early with another show for you. Have a great day.